Alright YouTube, so we are back of course with some Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Here at the beginning of the video, it's going to be kind of a news roundup, a couple of smaller bits of info before we get into the big part of the video. Today is apparently Aerith's birthday, which, I don't know, wasn't aware. Don't keep track of video game characters' birthdays. But, there you have it. We also have Square Enix confirmed for PAX East this year, which is going on in Boston from February 27th to March 1st. Now, this event may be nothing necessarily important for Square Enix. It might just be a generic gaming convention for them where they're just going to show off an older trailer and maybe have some demo booths for people to play the game while they're there. But it was also pointed out by people that this is taking place right before what would have been the initial release date, right? March 3rd, this is taking place 27th to March 1st. There's a good chance that this would have initially been a place where we would have got the launch trailer for the game. So we've talked about this before a few times. There's definitely going to be another trailer for this game. Some sort of a launch trailer. I don't necessarily know if that's going to show a bunch of new stuff or not, but there's going to be one more trailer at some point to hype up the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this would have been the perfect event for it, so there is potential for another trailer. So by the time PAX East happens, it'll have been about a month since the theme song trailer, which was a big trailer. There's a massive amount of info and things in that trailer. So I don't know necessarily that we would get a trailer that close to the last one. But if you go back to early 2019, we got the State of Play trailer, the Symphonic Reunion trailer, and the entire E3 event within the span of a couple weeks, so it's not unheard of. We also had the Final Fantasy VII Remake Twitter account tweet out this image, which is honestly a badass picture. It'll probably be the thumbnail of this video. Here's the thing though, what we're looking at here is presumably more or less the end of the game, which I'm not a fan of seeing. We talked about this a bit with the recent trailer because we see a slight amount of the highway chase scene, and I don't know that I necessarily want to see that stuff in trailers. The original game's Midgar segment ends with us escaping on the highway, which is of course what this first game is based on, and according to the story synopsis, that's also how this first game is going to end. I don't want seeing a lot of stuff in trailers and promotional materials. I'm just not a big fan of seeing things that are going to take place pretty much near the end of the game. But it is a remake, and we know the highway scene is going to happen, so this isn't really a spoiler. I don't know, it's just my thoughts on it. But this image does help us kind of segue into the point of the video, and it's that they're finally putting Red XIII into the marketing of the game. So for starters, what I mean by that is we're finally seeing merchandise for Red XIII, which is something that I talked about a while back, probably a couple months at this point. We're speculating on whether or not he was even in the game at all, because he wasn't in the trailers, he wasn't in promotional images, there's no merchandise involving Red XIII. We just did not know what was going on. But now we finally have merchandise. There's also a lot of Red XIII stuff now at the Skytree and Midgar event that we talked about in a somewhat recent video. Shout out to Zach, I believe it's pronounced Keo according to the internet, for letting me know about this and also linking me to where I can find this stuff at. So an example of some of the stuff that we have, if you guys remember these cutouts right here that you could take a picture with while you're there, they've since been updated to add in Red XIII. Now it is cool to see our boy Red XIII finally getting some representation, but he almost looks crammed in there, if that makes sense. If you go back to the first image we looked at, it looks pretty symmetrical. You have Aerith and Barret in the background, closer together, Cloud and Tifa up front, but further apart. It looks very symmetrical, but you go back to this image, and it looks like they kind of pushed Cloud back and threw Red XIII in there. And he's kind of blocked by the railing. And also why it kind of feels like it's almost forced in there is going back to why we didn't even know if he was in the game at all, and if he even was, would he be playable, is because he wasn't really in the marketing. If you go back to something like the lanyard they're giving away if you buy a physical copy of the game from the Square Enix store, it only has the 4 main characters, Cloud, Tifa, Barret, Aerith. No Red XIII, even though he's a main character. He joined your party in the original game. You can use him and fight with him and things. But he's not a part of that type of stuff. And even at the Skytree event, if you go to some of the items you can buy, like for example, we have these items right here that you can buy at the Skytree event. We looked at these in our Skytree video. But you see like these pins or buttons or whatever down here? No Red XIII. Whatever these things are, no Red XIII. These like, whatever these are as well, coasters or something. There's no Red XIII. And I find that weird because like you have the Turks characters that aren't in the story of FF7, they're not as important as Red XIII. He's a main character. They might be more important to the Final Fantasy VII Remake story, but not more important than Red XIII overall. So it's weird to me that they're selling promotional items for them, but no Red XIII, which is why I've been questioning for a while now how important he's going to be to the overall story. At least when it comes to this first game, because obviously he's going to be more prominent of a character when it comes to the sequels. There's also a Red XIII poster at this event, which is just a picture of him by himself, so it's kind of cool to see that they're using him to some degree to help market the game. There's posters of other characters as well, but it's just cool to see something dedicated to him finally. We also get some images of Red XIII and a character profile that reads, Red XIII is a beast with a flaming tail, crimson fur, deadly claws, and the ability to speak. At present, he is being held in captivity as a test subject for Professor Hojo. Also a quote down here that says, you ask what it is, I am that which you see before you, nothing more. Which is, of course, the quote from the trailer, but we didn't have that first line. At least in the English trailer, we didn't have the you ask what it is.
I am that which you see before you, nothing more.
And there's a whole lot of other cool things coming out of this event that I've seen that we could talk about, but we're mostly focused on Red 13 when it comes to this video. Like, for example, there's the modern take on the intro of Final Fantasy VII. People have recorded that, but if you wanted to watch a better quality version of that, it got released whenever the demo was data mined, so you can watch a very high quality, much better version on YouTube if you really want to see it. Assuming those videos are still up on YouTube, I have no idea if Square Enix has taken them down. If not, we can just hop over to Twitter and watch it. And that'll pretty much wrap up the video. It's mostly about Red 13. That's kind of the point of the video. And it's good to see that they're finally, again, putting him into the marketing of the game. Like, hey guys, Red 13 is a character, by the way. Also, let me know when it comes to the Skytree event if there's anything else worth talking about, because obviously some of you out there are keeping up with this way more than I am. I honestly kind of forgot that it was even starting or going on already. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and want to stay updated with more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter at @dashingdavid. I'm my Discord. Links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.